Hello everyone and good morning. This is Holly live from Kalkine Studio in Sydney and you're watching The Opening Bell. Let's cast an eye over how the Australian market charter is panning out today. Well, the Australian share market opened higher on the back of a green trading session on Wall Street, led by upbeat economic data. Looking at the market open trades, the top performing stocks in this index are IDP, Education and Xero. Yesterday came the big announcement from IDP that it has entered into a binding agreement to acquire 100% of the British Council's Indian International English Language Testing System for £130 million on a debt-free, cash-free basis. Meanwhile, IPH Limited, Megaport, Netwealth and Afterpay were leading laggards during the early trades. Next up, before we jump onto the ASX charter for the day in detail, let's have a look at the overnight US market performance. The equity markets worldwide had a strong session on Thursday, with investors brushing off concerns regarding a rapid surge in coronavirus cases. On Wall Street, the S&P 500 index started the second half of the year with a record high, as fewer than expected weekly jobless claims improved investors' confidence. The Dow Jones rose 0.38%, while the S&P 500 gained 0.52% to close at a record high. Meanwhile, the Nasdaq Composite was up 0.13%. And on Thursday, the Labor Department said initial claims for state unemployment benefits fell to 51,000 from a seasonally adjusted 364,000 for the week ending the 26th of June. However, it's an unreliable guide to Friday's broader indications. It is US payroll data on Friday that market participants think could provide a boost to investors' confidence. The US Treasury yields notched a little higher as investors awaited the government's June 2021 jobs report for clues on how it might dictate the Federal Reserve's monetary policy. While on Wednesday, the yields fell primarily due to the quarter and month-end demand for treasuries. And onto the currency space, the US dollar hit a 3-month high, but traded mainly within a tight range, as market participants didn't make heavy bets before Friday's US non-farm payrolls report. Meanwhile, the Australian and New Zealand dollars traded near support zones on Thursday, as their US counterpart ticked up. Now that we've taken a glance at the US market performance, let's look at major newsmakers in the Australian share market. To begin with, Australia's largest horticultural company, Costa Group, is trading in the red zone on unveiling entitlement offers to fund acquisitions. The 1 for 6.33 pro rata accelerated re-announcement entitlement offer will price new shares at the offer price of $3. The company plans to use the money to fund $200 million of purchase 2PH Farms, a citrus grower in the central Queensland region, and $31 million to buy a property where a new citrus crop is being planted by 2PH. Meanwhile, the next stock under the spotlight is a general insurance player. QBE Insurance traded up on defending coverage allegations. The group announced that it would defend claims made by gym chain Strand Fitness in the federal court that it denied coverage to some policyholders that faced business disruption through COVID-19. And the next newsmaker worth looking at is also a prominent insurance player, Suncorp, who soared on expecting a $50 million windfall from the sale of its stake in RACT Insurance. RACT Insurance is a joint venture with the Royal Automobile Club of Tasmania. Notably, the insurer will sell half of the venture to owns its partner for $83.75 million, which equates to 18.1 times its financial year 2021 earnings. Meanwhile, manufacturer, distributor and marketer of branded skin and hair care products, BWX dipped on completing its Flora and Fauna acquisition. The company has completed the acquisition of online retailer Good Collective, trading as Flora and Fauna, for up to $30.8 million. According to the company, the new business will operate alongside its pure-play e-commerce business, Nourished Life, forming a new business unit within the group focused on a multi-category portfolio of healthy and sustainable products. And now it is time for a short break, but don't go anywhere, stay with us, and I'll be back in just a moment with trending updates for the Australian share market.
Tune in to get the latest information.
Whether it's about market movements or the currency graph,
Sectoral coverage or industry news.
we cover it all on our news segments.
Be on top of the latest news
With Kalkine TV. Welcome back, viewers. I'm your host Holly, reporting to you live from Kalkine Studio, and you're watching The Opening Bell. Let's glance through the ASX sectoral charter this time. The Australian technology shares traded higher as US tech stocks participated in lifting indices higher overnight. Xero and Nuix were among the leading gainers during the early trades, while Afterpay, Zipco and Nearmap traded lower. And Australian energy majors such as Woodside Petroleum, Beach Energy and Oil Search are trading in the green zone after crude oil prices ticked up. And on Thursday, crude oil prices rose almost 2% on indications that OPEC could increase supply at a slower pace than earlier expected in the coming months. The rising global fuel demand has caused the crude oil supply to tighten, as Brent crude closed at $75.84 US a barrel, up 1.6%, and US West Texas Intermediate crude oil futures settled at $75.23 US a barrel, gaining 2.4%. And onto the miners space, heavyweight miners BHP Group and Fortescue Metals traded in green. On Thursday, Chinese steel futures notched higher for a seventh consecutive session on lingering concerns over supply prospects as China seeks to reduce its output this year. Hot-rolled coil and construction steel rebar contracts on the Shanghai Futures Exchange touched their highest levels since the 15th of June this year, which helped the Dalian iron ore recover after tumbling for 2 days. Steelmaking ingredient iron ore climbed 1.1% to 1,166 yuan per ton on the Dalian Commodity Exchange. Meanwhile, copper tumbled as stronger US dollar and weak manufacturing data from China hit investor sentiment, though buying from large funds offered some price support. On that note, ASX listed copper players Oz Minerals and Sandfire Resources traded in the green during the early hours of today. Then in the yellow metal space, Newcrest Mining and Evolution Mining traded in red, while Ramelius Gold Road Resources soared. On Thursday, gold edged higher as more than 7% fall in June prompted some commodity traders to buy the yellow metal at a dip amid concerns over the Delta variant of the coronavirus. That being said, the rise was capped by a strong US dollar and caution over Friday's US payroll data. Not half bad if you ask me, and that is a wrap for now. Holly Shields signing off.